Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation. First of all, let me thank you all for coming here today. Before starting my presentation, let me introduce myself. My name is Navisa Khumairo. Student number is 072-111-733-090. I am from Antropology major in Airlangga University. As you can see on the screen, our topic today is spiritual portion of Tingkeban tradition in Japanese culture. The purpose of the presentation is to educate about Japanese people have a lot of cultural information to be studied over time. It should be noted that an effort to express true perspective of the Japanese about Tingkeban or celebration of 7 months of pregnancy, which is a form of means to get truth and LCT. In this case, it is the anxiety of prospective parent with the expectation given during pregnancy, childbirth, and the baby to be born. What is Tingkeban? Tingkeban is a traditional custom of Javanese people conducted in 7 month gestation. Through this Tingkeban traditional custom, people have expectation and belief in the security of baby that will be born. Topic for discussion number one: what is the procedure of or procession of Tingkeban in Javanese culture? Number two, what are spiritual portion to contained in Tingkeban in Javanese culture? Number three, what is the function of Tingkeban fight in Javanese culture? Processing of Tingkeban in Javanese culture. Every ceremony has its own procedure in holding the head. Meanwhile, the procedure of processing of Tingkeban for Javanese people is as follows. Number one is time. This rite is held before 7 month gestation, and the prospect of baby should determine the good day according to Javanese count. Number two, selamatan or kenduri. The village elder or modi will or explain the purpose or the objective of the rite organization. Number three, siraman. The siraman or ceremony of bathing is conducted to the prospect parent of baby, including father and mother. Number five, pantas-pantas or changing dress 7 times. In this pantas-pantas event, the prospect mother wears 7 types of clothes or kain and kebaya. Number five, brojolan or Bluegrass Chicken. In the brojolan event, prospect grandma from prospect mother varies on guiding coconut accompanied by her ibu besan or her daughter-in-law mother. And next, Shankar Garden breathing. Prospect father with the coconut be choosing one out of two guiding coconut painted with Kamajaya and Kamarati features. And last, rujakan. Rujakan consists of various fruits such as cucumber, melon, apple, star fruit, and bengkoang. Spiritual question flu Tingkeban even in Javanese culture. Spiritual question flu in implementation or processing of Tingkeban in Javanese culture. Number one is selamatan or kenduri life. It is intended to pray for the safety and the smoothness of Tingkeban implementation. Number two, siraman. Siraman or bathing is the heart stimulating the soft clean life, either physically or mentally. And number three, pantas-pantas or chasing dress 7 times. 7 months clothes represent good characteristic or personality. Number five is brojolan. Brojolan itself means the expectation that the baby will be born easily. And next, cengkir geding. Bringing it is believed that through cengkir geding, the ideal will be achieved easily. And last, rujakan. Rujakan is intended to make the baby born pleasurable and preferable to family and many people. Fusion of Tingkeban faith in Javanese culture. Every ceremony of faith has its own fusion. used by a group of people for certain purpose. The function of Tingkeban fire in Japanese culture is as follows. Number one is as a mean of removing misfortune. Number two, as a mean of expressing gratitude to God the Almighty. Number three, as a mean of preserving culture. Number five, as a mean of asking for help or praying to God the Almighty. Number five, as a means of appreciating each other within the member of society appreciating for. And the last conclusion. The conclusion that can be drawn in this article is as follows. Tingkapan traditional processing in Javanese culture start di kenduri and the end with rujakan. Spiritual questions look untitled in Tingkapan traditional include the request to God, the Almighty, of safety and happiness for the couple, the process of self-purification in the attempt of praying to God Almighty, praying for the safety of fetus existing in the womb and mother until the delivery process. Before I finish the presentation, I hope you can some insight into spiritual question of Tingkapan tradition in Javanese culture. If you have any question, I'll be happy to answer them. And thank you for your attention.